a part of this. You know, if it's not this time, there will be another time, and we would love, love, love to see you apply again. It's just a snapshot for where you are right now. Right. Let me introduce Hannah. Hannah
And
is
oh, sorry to interrupt, Jenny. And Jenna is joining us as well.
Hannah and Jenna.
Hello.
Yes.
Due to
A
technical
double whammy, Ant and Dec.
Hannah and Jenna. Hi, Jenna as well. Sorry. Just so you know, due to technical glitch, we can only give one person hosting rights, Hannah. So I'm so sorry, but you can both go deliver.
Yeah,
But you will be in charge, so to speak.
that is fine.
So
I'm going
Hannah
to
and Jenna are our partners for Ambition PR. They're going to show you how to leverage your shortlisting, your application. We wholeheartedly welcome this first year working together. They're a joy to work together. They care so much about the people they work with, which is why we partnered up with. We're heart-led. So we're like-hearted, not just like-minded. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ambition PR.
Thank you very much, Elliot, for such a lovely introduction, and congratulations, everyone. And we really want to echo exactly what the team have been saying, that even getting to this point, getting that application in is such an impressive achievement, like for all speakers. And there's a lot of ways you can leverage that, which we're going to go on to in this session today. So let me give a little bit of an introduction about who Jenna and I are and our wider team as well. So we're a B2B public relations firm with over 15 years experience. We work with such a wide array of individuals, including speakers, authors, consultants, academics, business owners, and we have a dedicated professional services division and team that work to kind of amplify these speakers to increase their visibility, amplify their expertise across the globe. So the session that we're going to deliver today is just going to be a 30-minute power session, maximizing that finalist status and talking a little bit about how this finalist accolade can increase your visibility, credibility, and influence if you know what to do with it. We're going to give you lots of actionable insights with an opportunity for questions at the end. So I'm going to hand over to Jenna, who's going to start by introducing that finalist factor.
Yeah, definitely. So again, I'd like to say congratulations to everybody and just really kind of mirror some of what's already been said, that, you know, it's a really big achievement to have got to this point, that you've beaten many others to get to this sort of finalist space, and you're going to be the top entrants in your specific category. And that is something really, really to shout about and to be proud about. And there's a lot of visibility and kudos that comes with that. And we actually say, you know, it's comparable to winning once you get to this point. If you know how to leverage it, it's just a really, really, you know, amazing achievement and something that you can really build on in terms of how you take this forward and how you use this as a really, you know, valuable milestone as you go forward. And there's a lot of energy and excitement. You can see it already in the room. There will be within your networks, in your communities. There's a lot of really good news and positivity here that really can kind of radiate out from this moment on. And whether you win or whether you carry that finalist status with you, there's a lot you can do with it from here onwards, and really sort of build that community to support you as you sort of go towards the next kind of achievements and the next goals of what you're doing. And so there's many opportunities available, but it's obviously what you do with it next. And hopefully we're going to share some of those ideas with you shortly. So if we just look at where you sit at the moment in terms of, you know, your visibility, your credibility and your influence with the award shortlisting, you're kind of sitting really firmly in that credibility marker because you've been identified, you've been recognized by the judges, you've been graded on, you know, certain things, and you've really hit those sort of key markets there. So you've already got that credibility bit sorted. But what we want to try and do is move you into that little sweet spot in the middle where you've got that big visibility piece as well. So lots of people are hearing about you, they're seeing you, and then you have the influence part of that, which means that people then take that kind of recognition and they actually take action with it. So they recommend you, or they want to work with you, or they want to book you for a speaker, or they want to do some consultancy work with you. So this is about trying to move that and use that award finalist status to leverage you into that sweet spot. Because when you do get there, there's lots of things that benefit from being in that sweet spot. So you become more in demand. People start to see and start to perceive that you are, you know, this popular person, you're the chosen expert in your field. It can lead to more strategic partnerships or new conversations that weren't possible before. It could lead to some more consulting work if that's what you're also looking to move into. obviously it can lead to further speaking engagements. You can increase your fees as you become more in demand and more popular. You'll be able to increase your fees, and you might also be able to move into more influential roles. If you're looking to take your career in a slightly different direction, then this can help to, you know, really give you those key foundations to help you navigate the kind of the next stage of where you want to go in your career. So we're going to go through sort of 5 steps, and I'll hand back to Hannah shortly. But these are the 5 steps that we've put in place to help you really leverage your finalist success. So step 1 is going to be looking at how you organize your house. So now you've got this award, what do you need to do? Just get everything in order first. The next step will be, how do you keep that momentum going? How do you ride that wave of success in the coming weeks and months? Step 3 is, how do you reignite the debate? So if you've got sort of topics that, you know, maybe you spoke about a few years ago, or that you want to kind of bring back to the forefront, how do you bring that story back to the front? And then how do you connect all the dots that are there to help you really kind of amplify your reach and move you into that next phase of your career? So I'll hand you back to Hannah now, and she will go through step 1.
Thank you very much. So the first step on that 5-step journey that Jenna started to outline is getting your house in order. So what do we mean by house? These are things that your owned assets that you want to be updating to now showcase this achievement. So it might be things like your email signature, saying that you're a finalist, that you're award nominated. You might also want to put things like a digital logo on the website, so it's nice and clear as soon as people are seeing you. Things like social media banners and posts, as Simone has already said about the assets that you're going to get to be able to share that on social media. Updating things like your CV, your LinkedIn awards and accolades section, that as featured in banner that you've got, refreshing that speaker bureau information, any speaker bios that you have, basically looking at all the assets that you use to sell yourself to others, and adding on this accolade that you have now achieved. It's so important to keep them really up to date, keep them as fresh as possible, and also think about all those different touch points that people have with you, and making sure that you're then showcasing this at every single point of that journey. The next step is kind of building out from that. So actually, it's very similar to what Lavelda was saying earlier about how you can then use this opportunity, such as the summit and the ceremony, to be able to leverage this club that you're now part of. There's a part of an exclusive VIP finalist club. So how can you work with others that are already within this to be able to maximize this opportunity? So you might want to connect with the judges and partners, connect with fellow finalists. That might be this year, but also look at all the alumni that have had so much success already. And also you could ask them kind of, how did they leverage it? What did they do next? I know that the team have already got some fantastic case studies of the ways that people have used this accolade to really strengthen their speaking business. So why not consult with them, ask them, and see how you could collaborate. You also might want to consider each other's platforms. So I'm sure many in this community have podcasts. You could do joint promotions, database swaps, collaborating over webinars and joint talks, perhaps even product and service offerings to build out that relationship. You're all here and you're all really keen to support each other. So why not find ways that you can collaborate moving forward and using this as a path of introduction? Another part of riding that wave of success is that immediate point from now onwards. So you've got about an 8-week sweet spot really between now and the summit and the ceremony. So how are you going to keep that momentum going, moving forwards across all of your own channels? So it'll be things like social media posts that might look like announcing that shortlist status, but it goes far beyond that. You want to keep mentioning it because ultimately other people are going to see those posts. We know those pesky algorithms don't show everyone that post that you might want to see, and keeping that engagement going is really important, and finding new ways to talk about it. So that could include things like blogs or vlogs and videos reflecting on your success and your journey. That's a nice way to be able to kind of draw attention to that shortlist without kind of feeling like you're just saying, I'm an award nominated speaker, because it can feel a little bit intimidating to say things like that when we're not always naturally inclined to be promoting ourselves. So including things about your journey, reflecting on your success, or collaborating with others can be nice ways to draw attention to it on a little bit more of a subtle level. You also might want to include it in any newsletter, e-blasts, or LinkedIn outreach that you're doing to really draw attention to it in other members of your network. you might use this as an opportunity to introduce some celebratory incentives. So that might be a webinar talking about your journey or showcasing your expertise. You might also want to introduce a special offer or attach some other kind of assets and things to share with other people, launch a new product or service. You could also think about a local press release to local media or any sector media that are of interest to you. Local especially, they like to share the success of people that are in their area. So you could also use that as an opportunity to start to branch out in some of your outreach. So I'll hand back over to Jenna who's going to go over some of the next steps.
Definitely. So thank you. This is then looking at how you can really kind of reignite those key topics in those key areas of expertise. And obviously, as part of your kind of speaking, there's going to be a very kind of localized aspect to what you're speaking about. There's going to be lots more things around it, lots of nuances and more detail. And the idea is that people will be starting to look at you now and go, oh, who is this person? How can they help? What kind of insight can they provide? And so this is where you can leverage some of the other sort of content pieces or thought leadership to help give people that added information that they might need to help them kind of take them over that line and decide to work with you. Because we know that a lot of people prefer now to digest information on their own before they'll reach out to you. There's a level of discovery that they will do, you know, almost on their own before you'll even know that you're on their radar. So the sorts of things that you can look at doing is as webinars, as we've spoken to, there may be more events that you're involved in at the moment or that you would want to be. You can look to perhaps update workshops or keynotes. So if perhaps as part of this process, you've kind of realized actually there's some other topics that I'm really passionate about and I'm really good at delivering on, and they don't actually form part of my offering at the moment, look at perhaps revisiting those and updating those for this year and the months coming up. You could look at putting together some more thought leadership articles that really align with your topics and your themes and give that idea and that feel as to, you know, what you can deliver for people. It might be that if you've got some very deep dive topics, you might want to, you know, look at some white papers or some reports that you might have been thinking about doing. Some of these things are a bit longer in terms of how you'd plan them. I wouldn't necessarily expect you to be able to churn all of this out within the next 8 weeks, but this is designed just to give you food for thought, to show you just how far this kind of step can take you in terms of inspiring new ideas and creativity, and how you can carry that through for, you know, for months and even years ahead of this point. It could be, again, topical commentary. There's been a huge amount of breaking news this week. A number of our clients have been talking about all sorts of things that have been going on in the world of business this week. So again, looking at that as an opportunity to just become more vocal in your area, you know, that will help to really sort of leverage opportunities and get you some really sort of valuable media coverage as well as engagement with your network. And then also looking at events that you might be able to get involved in through, for example, panel discussions or other things like that, and also into podcast interviews as well. So it might be that you can look to secure some podcast opportunities that are coming up that will just reinforce your sort of abilities and your credibility in terms of that speaker piece, just to reinforce the parts that are coming out in the award ceremony. And so, yeah, looking at connecting the dots then. So this is about how do we leverage this finalist status? As we were saying here, we're really looking at that long-term view as to how you can use this as a springboard and a platform for lots of other exciting things that you might be able to put on the horizon. So you can potentially outreach to new bureaus or agents. You can identify new events that you might want to be, you might have been trying to get into, and you can leverage the finalist status as a bit of an extra kind of, you know, value add to them to have you on their roster. You can connect perhaps with some warm leads that you've maybe been talking to, but nothing's really happened. You can use this as an opportunity to, you know, just get back in touch with them and go, actually, you know, did you know? It might just give them that extra sort of motivation to book you and to do what you want to do. Look at partnerships and collaborations. This is an amazing network of people that you're involved with now, that you've got this connection with. It's really valuable and really worth utilizing. It might be that, say, you want to build this into your email marketing as you lead up to the awards, and build more kind of comprehensive marketing funnels so that you can, you know, really kind of reach out to some of these audiences and build a really strong network there. Obviously enter more awards. I think that's a great thing. If you've, got the confidence and the inspiration from this, really kind of build on that and look at more awards that you can be entering. And then perhaps maybe it's even time for you to become a judge next time on another award or whatever. So you can look at moving yourself from being the award finalist to actually one of the judges, because there's a whole other kind of credibility piece that works around the judges as well. So yeah, and I'll hand that back to Hannah.
Yes, so thank you. So step 5 is really about combining all of the steps that we've mentioned so far. This is a really long-term focus thing. This is your springboard to really strategize and think how we're going to build this long-term. So the starting point is to create your hit list of targets. So that might be new awards, new events, new media that you want to target. This is your time to really use that as an opportunity to start to target those, contact them, talk about that shortlist status. Don't be afraid to use it. Building that outreach strategy then, so that you're thinking about this over the year ahead. Maybe you're even planning ready for the next category that you're going to enter in next year's awards. Thinking about, okay, how can I then strengthen my application if you want to go for another category? Perhaps it's something that's sector specific, maybe the AI and technology one. This is your time to then start to think, okay, what events do I need to speak at? What media do I need to be featured in? What clients do I need to work with? So that then next time the awards comes around, you've got those key credibility milestones that the judges are going to be looking for. And that really includes your long-term communication strategy, which might include regular industry commentary, working with other members of your network. That very much include might write a book, and leveraging AI for assistance where you can. But as we always say, it's important to know its limitations, particularly when you're a speaker and there's such a human aspect to so many of the things that we do. There might be some automation that you can do here to help with that research, but it's so important that this communication strategy and the way that you work is authentically you. That's what people are buying into when they see you on the stage and when they're engaging with you and audiences are looking to book you. There is so much authenticity that comes through. So whatever long-term strategy you're looking to create, make sure that it's really grounded in what makes you unique and what makes you successful. To summarize then, 5 bullet points. Make sure to own it. You have earned it. Be loud and proud. I know for many of you, it might not come in your nature to be really showcasing this on social media, and it might be the first time that you've ever put yourself forward for something like this. But this is your time to shine and your time to showcase it. So be loud and be proud across all of your platforms. It's important to feed it. As much as we've now got to this next stage and you've achieved that finalist status, it could feel a little bit job done because it's now your fate's in the judges' hands. But actually, it's so much you can do across your own platforms to really be feeding it. So invest your time, invest your energy and your focus to keep that momentum going. Ask for it. And if you don't ask, you don't get. So working with those collaborators across this network and beyond is where you're really going to unlock some of those opportunities. Find out what others did with their award nominations to be successful. How did they leverage it across their businesses? And find out ways that you can support others with maybe database swaps, podcasts, all those things. Run with it and embrace that snowball effect. As we've said, build on it long term. Think about how this is then going to be your springboard for your next business development, sales, marketing activities. Perhaps it's inspired you and given you that motivation to enter the next awards. Or as Jenna said, maybe you think, yeah, this is my time to judge. I could definitely offer some real insights into what makes a successful speaker. So we're now going to invite you for any questions that you might have about how you can leverage this finalist status. Would someone, is there
first of all, thank you, Anna and Jenna. This was an incredible presentation and definitely a lot of food for thoughts on seeing how can we use the awards beyond.
Yes.
I just, hey, look at me, I'm a shortlistee. Like, that's it. Because that's where a lot of people stop. Right, that's where a lot of people stop. There is that one social media post, and the reality is that after that one social media post, it's great because it creates a lot of buzz. Everyone that you never heard for maybe ages from is like, congratulations! I always knew you could make it, and it's like,
and it's then. Yeah, exactly. And it's how you then start that as a conversation rather than seeing it as kind of like, oh, they've said congratulations, thank you. And then that's kind of often where it ends. It's about, okay, now how could I send them something useful, or how can I show them my value even further to reignite that relationship again? So it's, yeah, no, as you said, Simone, it's a real starting point, not the end point
Yeah.
for your marketing.
And while we get some questions, so if you have any question, please put them in the chat right now. I've got one to start with, which is from the clients that you have worked with, right? The people that are working with you. Between all the strategies that you listed, which ones have you found to be the most effective overall? It's like, hey, if you have to do maybe one or two things, these are the one that, because maybe your time is limited or you don't have a big team. This is one or two things that I would really recommend you to do. And then the rest, if you have time or if you have the capacity or if you have the right team.
Yeah. Good question. So I think definitely starting at that step 1 point of getting your house in order is probably the most important, because you can't do the others without doing that one. So even getting and updating those assets is probably the most important starting point, because you can't really do some of those other things like outreaching to events or the media or reconnecting with people if you haven't already updated your information on your website or your social media, or you're doing that nice kind of cadence of reminder posts on social media, because they're probably going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about, if it's not across those assets and there's not that consistency, especially as I'm sure you've found from your work in events and things, that consistency across your platforms is so important that you want to make sure those key credibility markers are across all of them. Jenna, would you add anything?
I think I'd probably, that's to say, that's more from the tactical side. I think if I was looking at sort of strategies in terms of the PR aspects or communication, what you should be doing, I think from my perspective, the most important thing is to just keep part of relevant conversations. So when you looked at kind of the topical commentary or the thought leadership or all of that sort of thing, I think it can be very easy sometimes to kind of let all of that buzz kind of go around you. And what happens is that it just becomes a bit of who speaks the loudest. You know, you might, I'm sure all of you have seen, you know, interviews on the BBC, or you've read a news item and there's been somebody quoted in it and you've gone, I could have absolutely provided that quote, I could have done more, I could have said more. Sometimes it's just about being part of that conversation. So whichever area that you feel comfortable in, whether that's being, you know, vocal on LinkedIn, whether it's producing blogs, whether it's speaking on podcasts, whether it's doing more of the event side of things, wherever you feel most comfortable, it's just about staying as relevant, as present as you can, because people do forget very, very quickly. And so, you know, part of what we're here to do with our clients is we just kind of make sure that people will keep remembering you for what you do. And then when they need an answer, they know where to come. So
that's such a great point. There is a question about from Yamurai, which is, please give more context around reaching out to local press.
Yeah,
so
Let's
absolutely.
expand on
Hannah,
that a
do you
bit.
want to do that one?
Yeah, of course. So I think the starting point would be to prepare the press release that you want to send out, or even just a short announcement to them to say, I've been shortlisted, I work with local businesses in the area, or I've grown up here, or really stress what your connection is to that local area. And then it's about kind of reaching out or contacting usually via email, to those local publications in their area. You could also include things like radio and TV. It's even better if you can kind of make topical connections, as Jenna has said, particularly with things like radio and TV. They really want to know, what is it that connects what you have achieved with the challenges that people are facing at the moment, or the things that are in the news cycle. So perhaps the keynotes and the topics or the clients that you've worked with align really closely with something that's going on in the world at the moment. So you could use that as a way to say, you should speak to me right now because I can offer some expertise on XYZ, and I've actually been shortlisted for a national award on this topic. Jenna, is there anything you'd added to that?
I think I would also add that don't underestimate the power of regional media as well, because I think sometimes people think, oh, well, why should I bother talking to my local media about it? And, you know, just to give you some examples, from our area where we are, so we had a local dance team that had got through to some dance championships, and so we got an interview with them on at the local BBC radio station, and then that was syndicated on the main BBC News website, and then it kind of, they then got other kind of bigger interested media come from that. So the regional media is a really good feeder for top tier press. So it's just to, don't underestimate the value of that, because as I say, it can be a really nice way to kind of shoehorn your way into some top tier coverage, which again is really good for visibility and credibility and influence as well.
I can definitely confirm that. I'd love to share like a quick story, because I made awards, and applying for awards a big part of my business for a number of years, and I put my head on it. I was entering every awards that I could find that was relevant, and up winning about 15 of those. I remember the first one, but after the first one, what I did, I reached out to my local press in Italy, from my hometown, from where I was born, and say, hey, I won this award. I talk about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Are you interested in a piece on the topic of entrepreneurship from an Italian from this hometown that was migrated to the UK and had this kind of business and won this award? So that was the first one. They decided to feature me, and then that led to a piece on BBC, that then led to a piece that connected me with the editor of Forbes, and that was how I became a Forbes contributor.
Yeah.
I can trace it back to, I won this award. Let me contact the smallest press that I can find in local hometown, even if it's not in the language to speak about, to the language that I speak on right now. And that led to all these opportunities. So, and it's the easiest way to get in. It's the easiest way to get in.
And that's the exact kind of snowball effect that we were talking about in the presentation, is that you viewed your award not as kind of the end of that process. It's actually the beginning of the next one, and how you can then use that to get the next opportunity and the next opportunity. And it really does work.
Yeah, that's how you can leverage awards. I know I cannot see any other questions in the chat.
There's a question from Nina. Is there value in working with a publicist to help with this?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's we do. We work with people all the time with these sorts of things, and a lot of our bigger kind of long-term strategies for some of the clients we work with, awards is a very integral part of what we do with clients over many years, because we recognize that snowball effect and how you do need to kind of put all of these building blocks into place. So I think certainly working with a publicist can help you to kind of expedite some of this learnings. If you're very new to this and you're not really sure what to do, a publicist will be able to help you really kind of streamline that and do something as kind of efficiently and as quickly as possible. But alongside that, as we've said here, certainly there's always lots of advice and guidance around as well. So if you do need to do it yourself, there are definitely ways to do that. So
yeah, but that's also why we partner up with Ambition PR. That's exactly why this partnership is, because we have a lot of things already to do to run our speaking business.
Yes.
We're all full-time speakers here. Like we know the things that we are doing, and so now it becomes another thing that is added to our plate.
Yes.
Now, of course, if you have your own team, or if you have capacity, or you understand the media game, by all means, do it yourself. But if you want to do it faster, then that's why this partnership is in place. So, how can people reach out to you, and what's the best way?
On the next slide, I think.
And on the next slide, you see how they assist you.
Yeah, there's a phone number, there's an email address. Also, Jenna and I both have QR codes in our in the little pictures of us, and they'll take you to our LinkedIn profiles as well, where we can connect, and we often will share resources and things on there as well. And what I would also add on to what you just said there, Simone, is that often it's better to do one thing really well than it is to try and do loads of different activities. So if you are a bit stretched for time, and we're talking about lots of different PR tactics here, it's important that you invest your energy in what you think is going to be the best for your business, for your speaking career, and maximize each opportunity that comes out. So you might not have time to enter lots of different awards, but if you enter the most kind of aligned for you, and then see this whole process through right to the end, including all of these steps that we've talked about, you'll often yield better results than trying to do loads of everything all at once, but stretching yourself a bit thinly. So actually it's about going through this whole kind of methodical process with each opportunity and testing and seeing what works for your audience.
This has been really, really helpful. We do have people who've applied from the awards from multiple different countries. It's actually 20 countries in total that the applications came from. Yeah, we're global, folks. These are global awards as far as Singapore, the Philippines, all over the place. So for people who are listening in or watching the replay and they're thinking, oh, that's great, but Ambition PR are just in the UK, can they also reach out to you as well? I just think it's worth answering that question up front so people know. And Simone, I guess when we send out the replay, we can also send out the details for people to connect
Absolutely.
as well.
Yeah. Yes, we do work with speakers based across the globe. I think what the best option there is depends on the goals that they've got. So if they can reach out and give us some further details on what they're looking to achieve, we can then advise on what might be the best fit approach for them.
Fabulous. I thought, let me just get the question answered.
I know we get the question a lot,
And we do,
yeah,
yeah.
really,
We work,
it does
we do
depend on
work.
goals and where they are and things. But
Yeah.
I think if we can offer some advice.
Yeah, because it is a global community, so I want to make sure that everybody can. The advice is applicable globally.
Yes, the advice that we've given here is applicable for everyone.
Doesn't matter where in the world that you
No,
are
not at all.
based. Are there any questions? I'm going to give it another 30 seconds or so for additional questions to drop in, if there are any. In the meanwhile, Elliot, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we wrap up? If no more questions jump in the meantime, then we'll wrap up here.
No, I'm just grateful, and I feel amazing for everybody that has been involved from the word go. Thank you to Ambition PR for such an insightful presentation. I look forward to connecting and working with you all. We've already had some people come forward putting their hat in the ring to be judges next year. So it's interesting how quickly things happen. So no, I'm very excited for all of you. And just remember, wherever you landed today, it's a snapshot. It's a stepping stone, regardless of where you ended up. So well done. Can't wait to meet you all, see you all, connect with you all. If you're not connected on LinkedIn, let's connect. And thank you to the amazing team, Lavelda, Simone, and all the people behind the scenes, Jordan, Ajay, Latoya, Nicola, Wang, everybody,
Judges.
the big team. So thank you, and well done, everyone.
All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you.
Happy
We'll see you
day.
on the 11th.
Enjoy the sunshine. Whoop, whoop.
See you on the 11th of July. And make sure you get your
11th
ticket
July. Get your
before the
ticket.
13th of May.
Get your ticket. See you later, people.